Donald Trump is almost a week into being largely blamed for what happened to the Republicans, which makes sense. He is their leader and he has demanded all of the credit for their successes. So here's the dark opposite side of that, Donald Trump. But he doesn't want that blame, of course. And he is attempting to cast it on to someone else, Mitch McConnell. So he has bleated, it's Mitch McConnell's fault. Spending money to defeat great Republican candidates instead of backing Blake Masters and others was a big mistake. Giving $4 trillion to the radical left for the Green New Deal, not infrastructure, which didn't happen, was an even bigger mistake. He blew the midterms and everyone despises him and his otherwise lovely wife, Coco Chow, because why shouldn't he throw some anti-Asian racism into there? How fun for America. But he's not the only one that's blaming Mitch McConnell. Ted Cruz, who I guess is still trying to appeal to the Trump side of the party rather than switching over to DeSantis. He went on his dumb podcast and talked about how Mitch McConnell is responsible for this. Bear in mind, Mitch McConnell sucks. He's terrible. He's one of the worst people. He's a broken old crow, as we're so often reminded. But he didn't want these terrible candidates. He didn't want Blake Masters. He didn't want Herschel Walker. He didn't want Dr. Oz. If they had gone with the sort of otherwise awful candidates that Mitch McConnell would have supported, they might well have taken control of the Senate. Ted Cruz knows that. He knows how terrible these candidates were. All of this is political positioning. This is him trying to lend support to Donald Trump because I guess he still thinks he needs that. But anyway, we've been talking about this now for about a week, Dan, about to what extent Trump is culpable, to what extent that influences his decision to, as you said earlier in the show, apparently he is going to announce tomorrow how that may influence things like the Georgia runoff. What do you think about the blame and where it should lie?
I think, there's, as with all elections, there's a lot of blame to go around. I think that the Republicans clearly chose, I think they pivoted too soon. If they had run with crime a little bit sooner than they had been doing trans panic and cancel culture stuff, then maybe it would have settled a little bit more and actually moved the needle a little bit. But I don't think any Republican down the line was actually talking about any policy issues substantively. And so Democrats who are saying, listen, we're talking about substantive things like abortion, student debt relief, handling inflation to some extent. I think that actually Democrats did some good things and actually doing aggressive politics there. Much more could have been done, but they're defending against these Trump type people. But I think it's very rich that Trump is comparing in that, I love how you call them bleeds, in that Truth Social post or whatever, that, if only the Republican Party had gone with people I had supported, like Blake Masters or whatever. And I got this information from none other than Ben Shapiro, who's super plugged into Republican politics, as you know. Apparently, Donald Trump sent out email blasts for Blake Masters, where something like 90% plus of the money that was going from those email blasts was going to the Trump campaign, as opposed to Blake Masters' campaign.
Really fast, let me tell you. So they did the thing where, like when you do a humble bundle, the money goes to multiple people, and you can set what percentage goes to which, but they fill in a suggested split. And I believe it was 5% going to Blake Masters and 90% going, 90 or 95, I forget if there was a third option, going to Trump. It was the most insulting fundraising email I've ever seen in my life.
And on the Democratic side, we've talked about this, how the Democratic Party suctions money from at the House and the Senate level, and they use it on those races, and they don't really go aggressively on state and local down ballot races. And we've talked about that and we've criticized that for years and years and years. There's clips not on end. Now that's happening on the Republican side, so that's definitely a major part to blame here.
Yeah. I can't believe he's gonna announce tomorrow. Thank you. Again, like Dan always says, let them fight. Godzilla, you stand up out of the water. You get out, and then, hey, you gigantic monkey that lives in Florida, just go have at it or whatever. I'm gonna watch and we're gonna have fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun for a solid year. I can't wait.
It's like Stay Puft versus Godzilla. That's what I really think it's like. You pick which is which.
That's true. That's totally true. Oh God, they're gonna be so vicious to each other. I can't wait.
Wait. Sorry, last thing. You're already, thank God, America listens to the damage report. They're already putting out the feelers of the Trump campaign going, hey, remember when Ron DeSantis made videos of teaching his baby the art of the deal? Mm-hmm. Yes.
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 You know
yes.
what? Tomorrow, I love Dan being this happy. What has happened to America that we're in a good mood and it's stayed this way for a while? Anyway, I think we're gonna remind people of that ad tomorrow on the show. I think we're gonna bring that back. For two reasons. One, to remind people, and two, like maybe put it back on the radar of Trump, so you can attack Ron DeSantis with it.
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.